Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The New York Knicks first round opponent is set. It is the Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks in the first round. Appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. Once again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Man, the Orlando Magic lose to the third stringers of the Boston Celtics, changing the bracket last minute. That game comes down to the wire, and the Magic stink. They stink. The Magic, a team where most experts picked over the New York Knicks to finish this year. The Magic had one job if you were a Knicks fan that wanted the Toronto Raptors. Hawks lose, Magic lose, Raptors win, Raptors get the 5th seed, and the New York Knicks get the Atlanta Hawks. This is going to be a little playoff preview for you guys, so strap in. Once again, I was waiting for the final scores to come up on here. The Knicks lose against the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Barely played everyone. Touch on that game a little bit. You know, Deuce McBride looked great in that game. And look, the Knicks barely, they didn't play anyone. They didn't need the game. And, you know, Jalen Brunson prior to the game was shouting out the Knicks fans, and hopefully we get a long playoff run for this team. But, man, guys, how are we feeling? I got the poll in the YouTube chat. Make your predictions in the chat. Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7, or are you predicting the Atlanta Hawks to beat the New York Knicks? Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up. We wanted Toronto. I wanted Toronto. Look, you want the easier matchup. Hawks didn't play anyone. Seems like the Hawks wanted the New York Knicks. And maybe that can be some bulletin board material for the New York Knicks, because they rested everyone, the Atlanta Hawks. They rested it, like, not everyone, but they rested a lot of people tonight. They could have tried against the Miami Heat, but they lose. We wanted the matchup, the Toronto Raptors, but life and the NBA playoffs don't always give you what you want, right? So Boston handled business versus the Magic, which reshuffled the East. And I think this isn't a cakewalk that you think, man. Hawks have been one of the best teams in the NBA. Hawks have been one of the best teams in the NBA. So both teams, a little bit of history for you guys. Once again, shout out to the chat. You guys are incredible. Shout out to the members in here. 86 Schmer, El Figgy. What's going on? Black Ass Joel. See all of you in the chat. Shout out to you guys on X. Head over to YouTube. It's a funner experience. But shout out to you guys watching on X. Dis Rover says bum ass Orlando. Yeah, for sure. Bum ass Orlando. Hasia says I got 5 on it. Look, Knicks and Hawks have met in the playoffs 3 times. The Knicks have led that series. Look, the Atlanta Hawks beat us back in the Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton era, right? So, but that was a fun rivalry. Look, there's no Trae Young right now. You know, we all remember that shot over Franklin Ntilikina. But the Hawks have turned their season around, guys. And the Atlanta Hawks are, I believe, 20-5 to close out the stretch. And, you know, with these last few games, it was close between them, and especially with their last loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and obviously the last loss against us, right? And that came down to the wire. So they clinched the Southeast Division. After the All-Star break, guys, the Hawks ranked 2nd in defensive rating and 4th in offense. So those are really good metrics. Really good metrics. Jalen Johnson had a great year for them. Dyson Daniels had a good defensive year for them. CJ McCollum has had a good year for them. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has had a good year for them. They got Jonathan Kuminga over there. Their system is predicated on the roster. You know, their starting five of McCollum, Alexander, Walker, Daniels, Johnson, and Okongwu ranks near the top in net rating, defensive rating, and offensive rating for all 5-man lineups in the entire NBA this season. So Knicks starters better bring it, because like we saw in the last matchup versus the Atlanta Hawks, it wasn't so easy to beat this team, right? Now, if you want to say Nickeil Alexander-Walker got hot, he got hot, made some incredible shots, but their system is, if you wanted to avoid a team, it's the Atlanta Hawks. Look, I'm not running from them. I am not running from the Atlanta Hawks whatsoever. I still am picking the Knicks in this series. But if there was a team in the East in which you kind of didn't want to play in the first round, in my opinion, it would be Atlanta, right? They play a faster system since they traded Trae Young, and they have a lot of guards that could put the ball in the basket, and especially McCollum, who has just been incredible for them. But man, what do you guys think, man? This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Loud and clear, what's going on? OG Anunoby, day to day. Yes, OG Anunoby's day to day. I'm assuming that he's going to be okay. El Figgy, 86 Smirk, can go to the Hawks games. Let's go. Brunson got a son Daniels once again. Let's go. Ronald says, Hawks, be careful what you wish for. Knicks in 5. Let's go. Let's go. Look, during that Hawks game, the New York Knicks found success, right? The New York Knicks found success in that Hawks game. And that was the start of the Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns pick and roll. And they really had no one to box out Mitchell Robinson. They had no one to defend Karl-Anthony Towns, right? And that was the game in which we saw a change in the Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns dynamic, right? And that's the game in which the closer, Jalen Brunson, took it home, right? And that, as a Knicks fan, is what you're most confident about. Is Hawks don't really have anyone guard Cat. I think Cat should have a big series for the New York Knicks in this series. Obviously, we're awaiting the help of OG Anunoby, but okay. But I feel like he'll be fine. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. So the season series, remember, the Knicks scraped by the Hawks by a total of 3 points in the 2 wins. Atlanta beat the New York Knicks by 12 in their win, right? So the question I have for you guys, the first question I have for you guys is, can the New York Knicks handle Atlanta's pace? Because I said after the game versus Atlanta, last week, was that they kind of reminded me of the Indiana Pacers. And with how they play, how they share the basketball, they have CJ McCollum as the mid-range, assassin. They rank 5th in pace league-wide, which is kind of the exact kind of game the New York Knicks don't want to play. I mean, it's fascinating how we go from the Raptors, a pretty much lock, a given, to now facing the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks want you to run. They want to push the ball and get you in transition, right? So that's the first question. Second question is, do they have anyone to stop Jalen Brunson? No, they don't. Dyson Daniels is one of the league's best perimeter defenders, but that's kind of the duel within the duel. Brunson and Daniels have had history together, and Jalen Brunson has owned that matchup in years past. Daniels forces a lot of turnovers, but what I saw last game with Brunson was really promising in that matchup. Jalen Johnson is going to be kind of their dark horse if he's, playing like he has been playing. This is going to be a long series, but if the Knicks take care of business like I think they will, I think this can go 5 or 6 and we can get this over with. But this is definitely a tougher opponent than the Toronto Raptors, right? Definitely, in my opinion. right? Definitely a tougher opponent. I still do think the Knicks will come up on top. You're going to have a lot of media personality this week picking the Atlanta Hawks, saying that this is the worst case scenario for the New York Knicks. I hear it. I see it coming. We all see it coming, right? So, let that pass. But I think if the Knicks are playing like they have been playing, this should be a Knicks series victory. But I am not going to lie to you guys. I am a little bit more nervous than I am right now than I was yesterday. Hawks have been good, guys. I want to respect them. The Atlanta Hawks have been really good. Like, hottest team in the league. But I don't think they have a closer. So, hit up the poll. Once again, the season is over. The New York Knicks finished the season going 53-29. 53-29. They finished the third seed in the Eastern Conference. They get the Atlanta Hawks. The reason why they get the Atlanta Hawks is because the Toronto Raptors own the tiebreaker between the Hawks and Orlando. If they would have won, the three-way tie would have given the Hawks the tiebreaker, the Magic in the the Raptors 6th seed and the Magic in the 7th seed, but the Orlando Magic couldn't get it done. And here we are. Let's hear what you guys are saying in the chat. Once again, shout out to the chat. Man. What's going on, Noah? Chris Gotti says, better test for Knicks to face ATL. Raptors would have been too easy. Yeah, but you always want the easiest opponent, Chris. You always want the easiest opponent. Big LC says Cat and Brunson need to abuse the pick and roll. I have a feeling that they will. Because in that last matchup, guys, like I'm going to go to the box score. Remember, that was the first win the Knicks had against a team above 500 in a month. It was this Hawks game. And if you don't remember, this was a game where they were making us pull our hair out, guys. They were down by double digits. Cat had a nice run. Jalen Brunson had an incredible fourth quarter. But they just couldn't withhold the three-point barrage from the Hawks. And look, they cooled off. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be someone that is going to cause havoc? But the thing is, you could put multiple guys on him. You could throw Josh Hart on him. You could throw Mikal Bridges on him. You can throw, I think OG Anunoby will be on Jalen Johnson for the most part. But this is a series where I just think that when it all comes down to it, Mitchell Robinson and the bench will probably win this series because I'm not sure if I trust the Atlanta Hawks bench. Their starters, like I just laid out there, one of the best net ratings in the NBA, right? One of the best net ratings in the NBA. Defensive rating and offensive rating for all 5-man lineups in the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks. But their bench is the shaky part of their team. Like Kuminga, never know what you're going to get with him. He's a wing. He can score. He can dunk. Really inconsistent. Risha Shea is their underperforming first-round pick that really hasn't done much this year. Gabe Vincent, Tony Bradley, Muhammad Guy. I mean, they have Buddy Hield. I'm not sure if they go to him. They have Corey Kispert, but, he was a DNP. I think the Knicks will win this series with their depth. And remember, we walked into this talking about how the New York Knicks, how I'm confident with this team because of their depth. And Hawks have a more complete starting five in terms of net rating. Knicks are more talented. But I think when it comes down to it, especially in a series, I just don't see this team, the Atlanta Hawks, beating this team, beating the New York Knicks 4 times. Will this be a longer series? Possibly than the Toronto Raptors. But because if it was the Raptors, I would have put the Knicks in 4, guys. 4. But it's the Hawks. So that 4 goes to 6. It's 2 extra games possibly. But Knicks faithful travel. And Knicks faithful live in Atlanta, in Georgia. That stadium will be a lot of Knicks fans in that stadium, like we heard last time. But I'm already seeing some X factors. Give your X factors in the chat right now. Smash the chat. Who do you think is the New York Knicks X factor in this series? Who do you think is the Knicks X factor in this series? Smash the chat right now. Loud and Clear says they have no one to guard OG Anunoby. It's going to come down to our transition and three-point defense. Agree. Joel says Mitch is a huge X factor. Agree. Loud and Clear says Mitch is going to be the X factor in this series. Agree. Agree. Last game versus the Hawks, they had no one to stay in front of Mitchell Robinson. They had no one to match his intensity off that bench. He had 12 boards in 20 minutes, and he was probably the best player on the court in those minutes. And he had 5 stocks on the night. Mitchell Robinson is the leader is the leader in that category in terms of X factors. I think there'll be a few, but Mitch is definitely the X factor of the bench. Black S says Mike Brown is the X factor. John says Mitchell Robinson. Source says Kevin McCullough Jr. High-fiving people. Chris Gotti says Mitch is the X factor. Nostalgic says enjoy the series. Salute Nostalgic. Appreciate you in the chat. Yeah. What we saw from Miles McBride tonight was also promising. McBride looked like his normal self. Now, granted, pretty much everyone was out, but Miles McBride looked good tonight. He looked really good. And in this game, he had 2 threes. But when Mitchell Robinson is going to come into the game, and when him and Jalen Brunson have been in the game, have been on the court, that two-man dynamic has been really impressive for the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson has caught him on a lot of lobs lately. The chemistry has been growing between those two. We've even seen some 5-man looks between Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns on the same floor. But I just think when Mitchell Robinson comes into the basketball game, the Hawks, that's where you want to beat them. It's in the paint. It's in the paint. You want to beat the Atlanta Hawks inside, right? They only have Okongwu. Okongwu's good. They don't really have a rim protector. They don't. I mean, Jalen Johnson can get up there. Okongwu, that's not, they don't really have a rim protector. I think this could be a big cat series. Big series. Because we saw that last week. But I'm excited, man. Either way, guys, the Orlando, I can't believe, first of all, the Orlando Magic, I don't want to talk about them. Yeah, I don't want to talk about them. But appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. All the good stuff. The season is over. The New York Knicks face the Atlanta Hawks in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The brackets are set. The brackets are locked. And away we go. Tendro says this will be a similar series to last year's first round. Latoria, what's going on? Says stop acting scary yet. I'm not acting scary. I wouldn't say I'm acting scary. I'm not acting like that. I'm just laying out the facts. And I laid out the facts to start this stream was that the Hawks have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. The New York Knicks barely scraped by them, but they did. And that was a big win. Remember, that was a game. Karl-Anthony Towns, after the game, said this win felt like a lot like last year. So that was the win and kind of which everything changed for this team. Made you feel good again, right? But the Hawks do have a team in which, remember, top in net rating since the All-Star break. They traded one of their best player in Trae Young, and they've gotten like extremely better from that point on. But the New York Knicks are playing a brand of basketball that, in my opinion, whether it was the Hawks, whether it was the Raptors, no one should stop them from advancing to the second round. Nobody. Hawks, Raptors, maybe it just takes a couple of more games, one more game. Okay. I mean, you can never judge that by series by series. Remember, the playoffs are also a different animal, right? Hawks have to prove it in the playoffs, right? This is their first half a season with this group. And granted, they have played really well with this group, but most of these guys just got here, and you don't know how they're going to fare in a playoff series. The Knicks have more experience, even though, Hawks have McCollum, Hawks have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right, who was on the Timberwolves. Jalen Johnson is, one of their best players in experience, though. The Knicks have more experience, but this is a tougher task than the Raptors. It is. So, Black Ass says nothing wrong with respecting the Hawks. Exactly. Nostalgia said this series will be crazy. Let's check on that poll, ladies and gentlemen. So, how many votes we got so far on the poll? We got 59 votes on the poll. Knicks versus Hawks prediction. Knicks in 5. So far is winning at 51%. Let's go. Knicks in 6 at 37%. Knicks in 7 at 5%. Hawks win series is at 7%. Who picked the Hawks win series at 7%? Who? Are there Hawks fans in the stream right now? Who picked that? If you're a Knicks fan and you're picking the Hawks to win the series, please lay it out to me in the chat, because I would like to know if there's a world in which the New York Knicks can get upset. Now, I was one of the people who said that the Hawks will probably upset. One of these top 4 teams are going to be upset. Whether that's the Knicks, whether that's the Hawks, whether that's the Pistons, whether that's the Celtics, who knows? But you would say, out of this group, right? Let me pull up the standings again. Oh, Doc Rivers out as the Bucks head coach. Go figure. You would say, out of the Raptors, the Hawks, the 76ers, or the Magic, who are all possibilities to face in the first round, let's face it, guys, the Atlanta Hawks would have been the last team in which you wanted to face, because of how well they've been playing lately, right? They have really good wins under their belt, right? Again, this is me respecting our opponent. Again, I think the New York Knicks are going to win, but this is me respecting the hell out of them, right? They got really good wins under their belt. They got a Pistons win in there since the All-Star break. Now, looking at their schedule, since the All-Star break, which was at the 19th, they looking at their schedule was kind of a cakewalk. Philly, Miami, Brooklyn, Washington, Portland, Milwaukee, Philly, Dallas, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. God damn, they had a worse schedule. They had an easier schedule than us. Houston, they lost. They got some wins over teams below 500 in there for sure. At Boston, they lost. Then, but they beat Boston in Atlanta recently. They lost versus us. Their schedule has been easy. All right, just looking back at their schedule, they had a really easy schedule from the All-Star break. But still, I'm judging them off the game that we saw last week, right? Which was a game in which Nickeil Alexander-Walker got hot and couldn't miss from 3. CJ McCollum was killing the New York Knicks in terms of, not killing them, but he was hitting his mid-range shots. Jalen Johnson is kind of like that jack of all trades for them. And Okongwu is a really good rebounder, especially offensive rebounder. But that's why I think Mitchell Robinson will be that X factor for the New York Knicks when he comes into the game. But they just don't have anyone to guard our bigs, right? Right? Slow Runner says McCollum and Alexander Walker are clutch for the Hawks. Bench scoring will be big. Yeah, look, the Knicks are a deeper team. The Knicks are a deeper team than the Atlanta Hawks. They are. But again, in terms of starts, that's going to be important in this series, right? The starts. You want these strong starts. because once you start to give the Atlanta Hawks some juice, right? My camera does that once a stream. I don't know why. My camera does that once a stream. Once you start to give the Atlanta Hawks some confidence, some juice, you saw how they can feed off of that last week when the Knicks played them. So away we go. This should be a fun series. This should be a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm not sure yet. I would have to take a few days to kind of dissect the numbers if I think this is going to be a dogfight series for the New York Knicks per se. But I don't think so. Like, I think if the Knicks are playing their A game, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're handling business offensively, defensively, best team in the league in terms of the fourth quarter rating, if they're doing everything they need to do, there should be no reason why you should be concerned as a Knicks fan, right? There should be no reason. But the Hawks are good. Muhammad, what's up? What's going on, Muhammad? Appreciate you. Source says you wouldn't know their schedule was easy from what the media says. No, I just looked at their schedule. Easy. All those wins, the net rating aside, but easy schedule for the Atlanta Hawks. Look, they have no one to stop Jalen Brunson. He is the engine. He is the heartbeat, the closer. But he's going to see Dyson Daniels for stretches. And look, let's respect our opponent. Dyson Daniels is one of the 2 or 3 best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA, right? So this would be, if, like, let's say you get Detroit in the Eastern Conference, put that aside, but this will be Brunson's, one of his biggest individual tests for this postseason. Dyson Daniels is a good defender, but what we have seen in the past is Jalen Brunson has owned him. Not really owned, like, he's fared well against Dyson Daniels, right? Can we all agree on that? Let's go to Karl Anthony Towns. Cat anchors the front court for the New York Knicks in that starting lineup. He's at the hub. His assists have been up. He's a really good passer. He's one of the best rebounders in the entire NBA. Karl Anthony Towns will have a size advantage all series long against the Atlanta Hawks front court. He will. Look, when Cat is physical, when he's, imposing his will, like making them pay inside, when he's playing within the flow of the offense, when him and Brunson are doing the 2-man game like they did last week, it's going to be a problem for Atlanta. It's going to be a problem for Atlanta. OG Anunoby, right? Do they, like, OG could be a player in which makes this a short series for the New York Knicks, right? Again, we have to see how he is doing with his ankle, but he's a lockdown defender. Should make first team All-NBA defense this year. I'm crossing my fingers for that. But he could be an X factor this series for the New York Knicks, OG, because one of the league's best catch and shoot 3-point shooters. He's been really good lately. It seems like every time he's shooting the ball, it's going in. But again, we have to wait and see regarding his ankle. But all signs are pointing that OG Anunoby is going to be okay. Look, this is gonna be fun. But I'm gonna respect the hell out of Atlanta. They're playing well. They got guys over there. And let's get some revenge on what happened in 2021, right? I know Trae Young is not there no more, but let's get some revenge. Jalen will get Dyson in foul trouble, loud and clear, says in the chat. Let's go. What does our route to the Eastern Conference Finals look like? Let me put up a bracket for you guys, the final playoff bracket. Once again, shout out to the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're new here, my name is Anthony. We'll be with you all playoffs long, doing content, making content over here at the Knicks Nation channel. Please subscribe, like the video. All the support is necessary and appreciated You guys are awesome. So here's the final playoff bracket. Here we are, man. It's Knicks Hawks, man. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Here it is. Cavaliers play the Raptors. Knicks get Atlanta. Celtics get either the 76ers or the Magic. Man, how about Boston tonight, man? Jeez. Third stringers being the Magic, man. Pistons get either the Hornets or the Heat. So if the New York Knicks were to advance, they would get the Boston Celtics in the second round. We'll talk about that series when it gets there. I kind of don't want to advance and skip steps here. But I got to be honest with you guys. If we were facing the Raptors, I would have skipped steps. I would have skipped steps. Look, my mindset is still on Boston in the second round. But you cannot take this Hawks team lightly at all. You can't. They have the scores. They have the wings. You know, they can rebound, and they play as a team, and they play within their system. And if you ever had a little bit of a worry that the New York Knicks were to lose this series, it would be that the Atlanta Hawks shoot lights out in this series. They have been playing like they were playing in this series. And Jalen Johnson takes a massive leap in this series. That is the only way in which I think the Hawks have a chance to defeat the New York Knicks in this series. But again, it should be fun. It should be fun. Knicks Hawks first round, guys. Man. Man, I'm excited. Let's go. Look. This is not going to be is anyone predicting a sweep? Is anyone predicting a sweep? Anyone in the chat, are you predicting a sweep? I don't know if my head is at the Knicks, if my head is seeing the New York Knicks roll through the Atlanta Hawks in 4 or 5 games. Because if you think that, I don't know, you haven't been watching this Hawks team since February. Now, their schedule has been easy, but Jalen Johnson is a star, right? And they found their identity. And that's something that the New York Knicks have been struggling with, is finding their identity. Hawks found their identity. They know what they are. They know exactly what they are. The Knicks have struggled with that over the last couple of weeks, but it has gotten better lately. And it started in Atlanta versus this Hawks team, right? Brunson, right? Brunson was struggling efficiently in that game until the fourth quarter. But the Knicks have the star power in this series. They have Brunson, they have Cat, OG, and they have the Garden, home court. This is why you fight to get home court, guys. It's because of these matchups like this. Joel says Knicks in 5. Hawks not coming to MSG and winning, and we run hot. Atlanta, let's go. Michael, Yuri, what's going on, Yuri? Yuri is in the building. I ain't predicting no sweep. Yuri says Knicks in 6. Big C says Knicks in 6. Source says yes. What have the Hawks done in the playoffs? Paul says Knicks in 6. I will give my predictions later on in the week, but that's kind of where I'm leaning. But I'll tell you this right now. I want to be Knick fanboy, but don't be surprised if this goes 7. I would not be surprised if this goes 7. I wouldn't. If the Knicks are playing their A game, I think it could be a 5-game series. If the Knicks are playing around with their food, I think it could go 6 or 7. Could go. Hawks are legit. Hawks are the real deal. And I got to be honest with you, this was the matchup in which me, Anthony, was kind of hoping to avoid in the first round. I am just being real. Again, I'm still picking the New York Knicks to win. But let's remember last year, you got the Pistons, and that tough, gritty series made us stronger to ultimately beat the Boston Celtics in the second round. right? Our team grew as the playoffs progressed up until that game 1 versus Indiana. But let's get it. Let's get it. I'm ready. The Garden's ready. And I think we'll know in the next couple of days, or if the playoffs schedule has come out, whether or not the Knicks play on Saturday or that Sunday. We shall see. But it's Knicks Hawks first round. It's Knicks Hawks. Nick Tatership says Knicks tape in 5. Muhammad says Knicks in 5. Jorge says if we get consistency from the Knicks and they don't overlook the Hawks, it's a series W for the New York Knicks. Wild Boy Trey, what's going on, Wild Boy Trey? He's back. What's going on, Wild Boy Trey? This is fun, man. This is fun. Look, this is why you can't get enough of the NBA. You walk into today with all of the odds pointed to it being Knicks Raptors in the first round. All of the odds. You have the Raptors win. All you needed was, when the Hawks lost, all you needed was Orlando to win, and then it would have been Knicks Raptors. Quickly left the game with a hamstring injury, so I'm sitting there like, man, like this is looking like barbecue chicken in the first round. And in a blink of an eye, Celtics had that big third quarter go up against the Magic, and I'm sitting there like, man, it's really good to be the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. And this is the type of series in which you can't play around. Can't play around. So this is why we wanted this Knicks team to play their best in the final week of the season, just so they can have some good vibes, good juju heading into the postseason, because Hawks have been good. Hawks haven't beat a good team since their run started. Yuri, I see you on the call. Please be patient with me, Yuri. I won't get to your call till later on. Tenjo says, the Hawks and Raptors got on a conference call and said, let's switch. Guys, if you're under the impression that the Atlanta Hawks won at the New York Knicks, if the Knicks are under that impression, because they didn't play anybody today. I mean, if I go to that box score, the Hawks and the Heat, I don't think, did anyone play for Atlanta today? They could have took that game seriously and won at the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they didn't. So what does that tell you? That maybe they wanted the New York Knicks. Maybe that can be some bulletin board material, right? No, they didn't play anyone. Hawks punted this game. They were locked in. They didn't need it, right? They saw the Raptors, the Nets. They didn't need it, so they didn't play anyone in this game. So they could have took this game seriously, but they rested all of their main guys. And look at this. They can unleash. Buddy Hield is their three-point shooter. If they need a spark off the bench, what they haven't, give them 7 threes today. Corey Kispert, another three-point shooter, 5 of 9 from 3 today. They got shooters, folks. They got shooters. And if Nickeil Alexander-Walker plays like how he played against us last week, which I don't expect, but he has been playing really well from them. Like, really well. Lately. What is he averaging in the month of April? 26 points a game. But I mean, Knicks have guys that can combat that. Now, I know what you're saying. What happened last week? But to be honest with you, damn, he's shooting 50% from 3 in April. 46% from 3 in March. This is what he's been doing, folks. 31% from 3 in February. So he should be on the board as well as Jalen Johnson as the two in which you want to neutralize. That's their offense, right? Both of them. C. Craig Hall TV says Knicks in 6. Jesse says we'll just have to make the Hawks regret sitting out today to play us. Let's go. Shout out to the chat once again. Shout out to the chat. If you're just trickling in here, we're doing a Knicks playoff preview. It is official. The New York Knicks get the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. Source says, mother effer, we got Jalen Brunson. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Playoff Jalen Brunson is different, as we all know. And he showed that in the last week and a half versus the Atlanta Hawks when they literally, I mean, they threw CJ McCullough on him when Daniels was in foul trouble. And he actually played him well. And Brunson still ate his lunch money. We have Jalen Brunson. They don't. They don't have a closer, right? We have Cat. That's where I hope that this Knicks team focuses on. Inside out. Let's play inside out. Let's play through Cat, right? And have success with that. Because, again, I don't think the Hawks have anyone to guard Cat. I don't like, if the Knicks play inside out through Cat and start playing through Cat and Brunson closes, that was the formula, remember? That has been the formula. Brunson and Cat, two-man game, has been successful lately. I know small sample size, but it started versus the Hawks. That was the game in which it started. Cat could have a massive series this series. Right? So let's get him going early. This way to get his confidence up. And let's have Jalen Brunson be the closer if these games are close. So away we go, guys. I mean, it's Knicks Hawks. Coaching. We haven't talked about the coaching. Let's check on this poll. Updated poll. So I have the poll in the YouTube chat. If you haven't voted, please do so. What is your prediction between Knicks, Hawks in the first round? Knicks in 5, 48%. Knicks in 6, 37%. Knicks in 7 at 7%. Hawks win the series at 7%. Almost 100 votes on that poll. Shout out to every single one of you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. Knicks played tonight, but, no one played. Positive I took out of that was Miles McBride looked really damn good. Mikal Bridges, congratulations on his streak. A lot of people are crying over the Mikal Bridges streak, but to me that's just a lot of people don't like that streak, but it's a hell of an accomplishment. So shout out to Mikal Bridges regarding that streak. So poll is up to almost 100 votes. Knicks in 5 at 48% is winning. So Mike Brown versus Quinn Snyder. Are you under the impression that this series could be won on the sidelines? The coaching matchup rarely gets talked about a lot, but Tom Thibodeau has been the Knicks head coach over these, past few seasons, and whether, you hated Thibs or you loved Thibs, he was an advantage over some coaches. So Mike Brown, this is Mike Brown's first postseason as the New York Knicks head coach, his first one. Inherited a hell of a team, hell of a year, roller coaster year. But Quinn Snyder, remember, Hawks fans wanted to get Quinn Snyder out the door. I remember Hawks fans that wanted to fire Quinn Snyder. But he has completely remade this Hawks team an identity in one season. So the coaching edge is real. Knicks are one of the best, if not the best team in terms of challenges this year. I believe they're 39-9, highest percentage in the entire NBA, right? So there's going to be some tactical moves in which Quinn Snyder could do. Could he put Okongwu on Josh Hart, right, and put maybe one of their wing defenders on Cat, like we saw a little bit last game? But the starters have to step up this series. They do, because the Hawks, for sure, over this last stretch has been one of the best starting fives in the NBA. So these slow starts can't happen against this Hawks team, because that's when you fall down by in a blink 10, 15, and then you're climbing up the mountain, which we saw last year, and which you don't want to do. So here's a fun number that just came through. The Knicks starting lineup has 114 half-court offensive rating when Cat is guarded by the center. But that number plummets to 83 when Hart gets matched up with a big instead. That is from Daily Knicks. So how they guard Cat and how they guard Hart will be interesting. But what counters do the New York Knicks have? Because we've seen it before. Teams go zone. They dare the Knicks to shoot. If the Knicks are hot, good luck. The Knicks can be prone to going cold sometimes, right? But, you know, Quinn Snyder, you know, he's a good coach. He's been around a few times. But I think the secret weapon is Jalen Brunson and Cat, the two-man game. That's a secret weapon, and it worked last time. Why not? Why not go back to that? Right? Why not go back to that? Cat has averaged 28 points against Okongwu in 7 games since 24-25. Bruh. Exactly. Can't guard him. Play inside through Karl-Anthony Towns. Play inside through Cat, and good things will happen, ladies and gentlemen. Right? It can all be so simple. But I just don't see a world in which this Atlanta Hawks team beats the New York Knicks 4 times. Right? I just don't see that. As this is like frozen on my screen. I didn't know this was frozen on my screen. My apologies. There we go. But the secret is the two-man game, guys. The two-man game. I think that has changed the dynamic of this Knicks offense. And look, if they have that thing working, I think there's no one that can guard that thing in Atlanta. Nobody. As again, this thing pans to my shorts. Oh man. But the real concern that I would have are these slow starts. Like the slow starts for the New York Knicks, the Atlanta Hawks will try to exploit. They will try to exploit. And away we go. Away we go. Black S says, I was the first to say Mike Brown is an S factor. Sorry, I missed that. Joel says Cat has average. I read that already. Word MSG South will be in full effect. Let's go. Latoria says, y'all scary as hell over here. Y'all scary as hell over here. Ain't no way. Not sure what that's about. Latoria says it's going to be all home games for the Knicks. Knicks in 4. Love the confidence, Latoria. Love the confidence. Sean says, I hate how the New York Knicks fans have been acting on Twitter. We are the better team. I'm not saying it's going to be a sweep, but we are winning in 5. This is a championship team. Act like it, please. Tighten up. Sean, it's easy for me to come on here and just say the New York Knicks are going to advance, and away we go. I mean, of course I think they're going to advance. I don't think the Atlanta Hawks have enough to beat this Knicks team 4 times. But there is a process to this. There is things that you have to dissect. The New York Knicks have scraped by them, right? The Hawks have poise issues like we saw last year against this New York Knicks team. I mean, last week, excuse me, against this Knicks team. And it was just 3 weeks ago in which we were having major concerns with this New York Knicks team. So they ended the season playing pretty well. So we're confident. I'm confident. And away we go. But if the Knicks fall back in their bad habits and their slow starts, it might be a longer series than expected, right? So the starts are important, right? The Knicks have a habit on digging themselves in a hole early on. They do. And against the Hawks, they dug themselves out the hole. Remember in that third quarter, Mitchell Robinson was incredible. But Atlanta's going to come out the gate hunting. right? They've been the hottest team in the league. They kind of are the darling right now in the NBA, right? They're kind of the darling in the NBA. Everyone in mainstream media is probably going to pick the Atlanta Hawks to beat the New York Knicks in the first round. Not everyone, but I guarantee you right now, tomorrow, you're going to hear some people in the mainstream media call for an upset on the Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks. And of course, I don't agree with that. But from what the Hawks have been showing us since the All-Star break, there could be a chance. I'm not calling for it, but there could be a chance. And you want to respect your opponent. You know? You want to respect your opponent. So, away we go. Once again, shout out to the chat. Shout out to you guys on X. Shout out to you guys on YouTube. My name is Anthony. If you're new here, hello. Please subscribe. Content all week long. We're going to be breaking this down more in depth throughout the week, giving you my predictions. But obviously, you guys know where I stand. I'm leaning towards the New York Knicks. It should be a hell of a series. A lot of us wanted the Toronto Raptors. How quickly things have changed in the last couple hours. The Boston Celtics beat the Orlando Magic. Hawks lose. And here we have it, Atlanta. Maybe I'll make my way to Atlanta. Maybe. Just maybe I'll make my way to Atlanta. I heard it's a fun atmosphere over there. Knicks fans will be in the building for sure. Right? For sure in Atlanta. MSG South. But let's go. Let's go. But there are some headlines heading into this series, like the OJ Anunoby thing will be talked about. Not looking serious whatsoever. So, but it is just floating out there. Mike Brown didn't seem concerned. It's just floating out there. Remember, Brunson had, what did he have, 30 and 13 versus Atlanta? Right? Nobody's really talking about 30 and 13. And Brunson, since the All-Star break, is averaging, 9.5 assists a game and 30 and 13 versus the Atlanta Hawks. Again, they Hawks can score, right? They have one of the best individual defenders in the league. They could cause some havoc, but when it comes down to clutch time, this Knicks team, in my opinion, it's just better. It's just better. And the Knicks went into their building, snapped their 13-game home winning streak. So, right, it's not really a hostile environment. No, it's not. Knicks have had success there. So away we go. I just think when it comes down to the clutch time, I don't see a world in which Atlanta, unless their team basketball can win them 4 games, which I don't see. But the Knicks have to come out the gate with starting better like they do. And I would like to see more Mitchell Robinson, more Jalen Brunson 2-man game. And away we go. This should be fun, ladies and gentlemen. This should be fun. Hit up the Discord if you want to call into the show. And away we go. Wild Boy Trey says Knicks in 4. Joseph says Knicks in 6. What's going on, Joseph? Knicks Tatership says Hawks win in 1 game at the Garden. That's it. Yeah, look. Home court is important. That's what you play for during the regular season. That's what you want for the first couple of rounds, hopefully. But Knicks don't have home court next round. But this Hawks team, they have been really good at home, right? Again, I put up their schedule. Wasn't really against tougher competition, but they've been good. And the Knicks went in there and beat them at home. I'm not sure if I see them winning in the Garden. It's doable. Yuri says, will the Knicks become a road team is the question. I think that win last week against Atlanta was huge for this franchise. I do. A lot of people overlook wins like that in the regular season, but we knew at the time that was a possible team in which the New York Knicks could possibly play in the first round. And it was a really good basketball game for both clubs, right? If you're a Hawks fan, you can feel good about your chances. Like, I'm sure on Hawks YouTube streams or YouTube podcast, they're saying to themselves, like, we had a double-digit lead against this Knicks team. We just let some things slip away. Our offense got stagnant. We fouled too much. I'm sure that's what they're talking themselves into on the Atlanta side. I like looking at these things from both sides. But if you're a Knicks fan, honestly, there should be no reason why you lose to these guys in the first round. None. Right? But just 2 weeks ago, we were questioning, like, there were people in this chat. Some of you guys were saying the Knicks are a first-round exit if they get the Atlanta Hawks. I'm sure most of you guys have changed your tune, but there were people that said the New York Knicks were going to get bounced in the first round. And how things unfolded against the Hawks in the first round, like, what if you're a Knicks fan that's saying that they're going to get bounced in the first round, has your mind changed over this last week, especially with that Hawks win in Atlanta, right? 86 Mirror says, as long as that's not game one. Joss Gilfer says, I'm going to say Knicks in 5. Nick Tatership says, Knicks tape has to step it up on a road. Hell yeah, man. They for sure are going to step it up on the road. They for sure are going to step it up on the road, and let's go. There's going to be 60-40 Hawks fans in there. Hawks fans have been showing up lately, but it's going to be 60. There's going to be a lot of Knicks fans in there. A lot of Knicks fans that will travel to Atlanta and the whole nine. It's going to be a fun series. But if you look at the road record, we're 22-19, 500 on the road. But what gives me confidence, better home team than road team, right? We haven't really been road warriors this year. But again, that win last week, when Karl Anthony Towns said at the end of the game that this one felt like last year's team, that made me feel good about this team again. And away we go. Look, I don't see this being a sweep. I possibly, like, the Hawks are, the way they play, the way they operate, I possibly, I don't want to give my prediction yet, but it all depends on how the Knicks start up these games. Like, do they come out the gate hot? If they start slow and Atlanta gets hot, then you start to get nervous. What gives the Hawks confidence in a 7-game series versus the New York Knicks, right? Again, you can say, if you're a Hawks fan, you were right there. I'm just going on their X account right now to see if you have Hawks fans talking crazy already. Knicks in 5. Let's go, man. I'm excited. I'm trying to see if I don't know if this score went final after Mike Brown spoke, but Mike Brown did mention the Atlanta Hawks in his postgame. He did mention the Atlanta Hawks in his postgame. James Edwards just posted an article. I believe this is behind a paywall, so I pretty much can't dissect it. Oh, it's not behind a paywall. Okay. So this is James Edwards' article. I'm just briefly skimming through it. I'm going to go for his X Factor. James Edwards III, right? Really respected Knicks reporter. His X Factor, he says, for me, it's Mikal Bridges. There are games when you can forget he's on the floor. When his jump shot isn't falling, Bridges can contribute little to the scoring column because he doesn't get to the free throw line or attack the rim. There are times when the point of attack defense isn't what it needs to be for the Knicks to be a top 10 defense. Knicks are a much better team when it can get steady productions on both ends from a man whom they gave up 5 first-round picks for. Yes. Hollinger says Jonathan Kuminga. Then he says bench heavy units of Kuminga with the Leafs, Zachariah, Gabe Vincent, Corey Kispert. Again, they have no one to guard Brunson, though. 3-point shooting is going to be something to watch. Knicks ranked 12th in 3-point attempts. Hawks ranked 8th in 3-point attempts and 4th in 3-point percentage during the regular season. 4th, guys. 4th. So, Hawks can get back into these games with their threes. And he says Karl Anthony Towns versus whoever the Hawks put on him. So, exactly. That's what we've been saying. Karl Anthony Towns versus whoever the Hawks put on him, I think, is barbecue chicken. The Knicks' offense is noticeably more dangerous when opposing team guards Towns with a traditional center. The Hawks tend to look more mortal when opposing teams guard Towns with an athletic wing. The last 3 times these two team plays, the Hawks primarily guarded Towns with Okongwu. I'm not sure the Hawks have a good enough wing defender to put on Towns. Jalen Johnson might be able to do it, but he's had a down year on the defensive end. Then Hollinger says Mitchell Robinson against whoever it is that has the job to block him out. Rebounding hasn't exactly been a strength for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, I would like to see Mitchell Robinson play a lot in this series because I do think if Mitchell Robinson plays a lot in this series, I think it could be a 5-game series. But they give their series prediction here at the end. James Edward III said Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6. John Hollinger says Knicks in 6. We don't have any Hawks predictions yet, right? Don't have any Hawks predictions yet, and I like it. It's kind of where I'm leading, to be honest with you. Do the Hawks win 2 games? I say it could be Knicks in 5, right? But game 1 obviously is important in Madison Square Garden. You don't want to give a team like this life and confidence throughout a series that they can beat you, right? You don't want to give this team confidence. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Appreciate you in the chat. What's going on, Mike? He says, but are the Hawks? I'm ready for some hot wings in ATL, some Magic City. Hawks super confident for a team that's never been to the dance round game 3. Them legs start to feel different. Yeah. Yep. Look, Hawks met us. Damn, it's been 5 years already. It's been 5 years since that series where the Hawks beat us 4-1. Man, time flies. That was the last time these two teams met in the playoffs. Different team. There's no Trae Young. There's no Trae Young revenge aspect at all. I mean, we'll probably see some Trae Young tweets, but there's no juice regarding that. Like, the Knicks are more talented than the Atlanta Hawks. They are. But the Hawks can't cause issues, especially with their 3-point shooting, because that's one area in which we know this Knicks team can struggle with is guarding the perimeter. And the Hawks have been one of the league's best 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. And we saw that last week when we played them, right? Hawks can get back into a game. They can extend their lead right out the gate. So, but I think when the game slows down, it's not really run and gun in the playoffs, especially for a young team. When the game slows down, and if the New York Knicks play inside out, I do think this could be a series in which doesn't get past 5. Could. So, what's the biggest storyline for this team? Hollinger says, how much of Atlanta's torrid close to the season reflected on its own roster, and how much it reflected on the quality of the opposition. The Hawks took advantage of a lot of tanking teams. Yep, 19-5 to finish after the All-Star break. 19-5. Wow. So Hollinger's listing the Hawks bench as kind of their X factor. And I've said earlier that the Knicks bench is deeper, but in terms of net rating, when you pair Kuminga with Kispert, has had solid efficiency for them. Yeah, Kuminga, like, I like Jonathan Kuminga. Even his time in Golden State, I never understood why they'd never really played him. I like his game, but, like, he's like, eh. Like, I do like his game, but I don't know if he... I don't know. I don't know if he's going to pose a threat to us, is what I'm trying to say. So then he goes to Hollinger says, would you believe Dyson Daniels' three-point shooting? He made at least one triple in 5 straight games in early April and closed the season 10 out of 24. Okay, so Dyson Daniels has closed the season shooting the ball pretty well. That's not really his game. But hitting 40% over the stretch is noticeable, he says. The Knicks surely will let Daniels take as many as he wants. He went 1 from 3 in the last meeting in April. But if he can knock... So they're pretty much going to guard him like teams guard Josh Hart, even though Josh Hart has been one of the Knicks' best shooters this year. So make him shoot. Make Dyson Daniels shoot. But if he's making them, then we have to change our strategy. But make Dyson Daniels shoot. Look. When Mitchell Robinson comes in the game, they have no one to guard him, guys. They don't. Like, the net rating and the positive impact in the series with Mitchell Robinson on the court is going to be so fun to watch. Joseph say, hey, streamer, what's your name? What's going on, Joseph? I'm Anthony. Pleasure to meet you, Joseph. Dynell says Knicks in 5 or sweep, but they have yet to show that killer instinct. They need to show it in these playoffs if they want to get to the NBA Finals. What's going on, Dynell? Yeah. And for the first time in a while, versus the Atlanta Hawks last week, we saw that killer instinct from them, especially from Jalen Brunson when that comeback that they did. And as a Knicks fan, you have that to give you confidence heading into the postseason, right? Now, remember last year they closed out the season poorly. Losses against Detroit and Boston gave us no confidence to play them and win against them in the playoffs. What happened in the playoffs, the New York Knicks turned into a different team, right? They used that grittiness. They fed off their coach and Tom Thibodeau, and they pulled some comebacks from out their ass against Boston. Haven't seen that this year yet until the win versus Atlanta. Nice to meet you, Joseph. Buzzer Beater says, we are not evenly matched. That's BS. We are the better team. Go Knicks. What's going on, Buzzer Beater? What's going on? CJ, salute. Knicks in 5. Let's go Knicks. And we can't let Nikhil Walker go crazy again. Exactly. Knicks in 5. I expect a huge game 1 and game 2 out of Brunson, and Cat will get the touch in Atlanta to do. Yeah, Cat should. Look, that's the thing in which I'm like, I don't see a world in which Atlanta winning this series is they have no one to guard Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, please enlighten me. Who do they have to guard Karl-Anthony Towns? Who? If you're Atlanta, you can say, okay, we have people to guard Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson has owned that matchup in Dyson Daniels. So, back when Trae Young was even on the team, Brunson has owned them, right? So, there are certain guys that causes issues for Brunson, and there are certain guys that he eats, like it's food. Now, I know Atlanta will try to do many things against Jalen Brunson. It's going to be interesting to see what actions they throw at him, if they throw out double teams. But in terms of guarding Cat, like, this series will be a short series if the Knicks get Cat involved early and Brunson feeds off of that. It will be, in my opinion. That's the guy in which I'm looking at. Cat could average, like, no lie, like 25-30 against the Hawks. Could. He could dominate. He could dominate. Updated poll. 125 votes. Knicks versus Hawks predictions. Let me know your predictions right now in the chat. Knicks in 5. Knicks in 6 at 41%. Knicks in 5 at 46%. Knicks in 7 at 6%. Hawks win series at 7%. Those of you who are wondering, where is the Knicks sweep? I can only give 4 choices. So I wanted to get a Hawks win series in there to see to gauge the chat. So if you think it's a sweep, put it up in the chat. But more likely, it will probably be Knicks in 5 or Knicks in 6. That's probably going to be the most popular choices, right? But the Hawks are good, folks. Hawks are not the Raptors. 86 Mer says Cat has to actually show up and perform, though. Yes, he does. He does. Nick Tatership says facts. Atlanta doesn't have a big who can guard Cat. They don't have anyone to guard Cat. No one. Nobody. Guys, Karl-Anthony Towns was 9 of 12. Made 2 threes, 12 boards, 6 dimes, 3 stocks against the Hawks. 12 shots and made 9 of them. Made 9 of them. They got no one to guard Cat, man. They don't. I want the New York Knicks to feed off of Cat to start these games. Because let's take the fourth quarter. I know look, it's crazy to say, but prior to the fourth quarter, Brunson wasn't efficient in the game, but he was missing his normal shots that he normally makes. It wasn't necessarily a defense thing, but he was missing his normal shots that he makes. Fourth quarter, he got it going. But Cat was awesome in that third, right? Let's not forget, Mitch was awesome in that game. And that's the secret sauce to beat the Atlanta Hawks. If you want to make this a short series, I think you got to play inside out. I think you got to start with Cat, work your way around. OG got some good looks from that 2-man game. Let's not forget that. Mikal, 7 of 13, 15 points in that series. Like, I think our guys will get easy looks. Like, offensively, it should not be a problem. But it's what is our game plan? Like, is our game plan ISO ball? It shouldn't be. It should be get Cat involved early. Because we've seen he's a different Cat when he's engaged and involved early on in these basketball games. He's different. And let's give him the confidence because they got no one to guard him, guys. Let's be honest. They got no one to guard Cat. Nobody. Just Rover says can't guard Cat or Mitch. Lob heaven. Exactly. CJ says Cat was bullying Okongwu the last game. I think they want to bring in Jack Lansdale if he's healthy. Yeah, look. I'll go through their roster throughout the week. I don't think they have anyone on their injury report coming up next week. But, like, defensively for the Knicks, so I talked about offensively. Defensively, Atlanta could be a tough team to defend. They could be. Because they essentially have a 5-out offense, right? Okongwu shoots threes. Jalen Johnson can shoot the three. CJ McCollum, I think that's the guy in which the Knicks have to try to take away his mid-range shots. I mean, he's just so good, so crafty at what he does. And he's kind of like, I think McCollum is kind of like their glue. The more I think about it. Like, yes, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's having a tremendous season. Yes, Jalen Johnson's a budding superstar. Okongwu is a really good offensive rebounder, so Knicks have to do a good job at boxing him out. But I think McCollum is their glue that keeps it all together. And I would try to throw him off the rhythm, but he's had a pretty good run for them. And Dyson Daniels, look, that's their number one defender, and lately he has been shooting the three better. But again, it's what do you get from their bench? Like, so they have a 5-out offense offensively, and they have shooters who, not only do they have shooters, they have makers, right? There's a difference, right? They have makers on their team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has had a tremendous season. McCollum has had a tremendous season. Jalen Johnson, can pose matchup issues, but we have the personnel, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Mitchell Robinson in the game, Josh Hart, the physicality. You got to get physical with these boys, man. Got to get physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical with them. I think that'll throw them off a little bit. Rough them up. I don't condone violence. It's the playoffs, though. Rough them up. Making them feel you. Like, physicality wins. Right? And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Jack Lansdale. Zaire says, hopefully Cat don't shoot a lot of threes this series. But, like, if it's, like, Zaire, if it's pick and pop Cat, I'm okay with it. Like, him and Jalen were, like, in this game, guys. This was the game in which it started the two-man stuff. If him and Jalen are playing off one another and feeding off one another and Cat is open at the top of the key, shoot it. Like, I want Cat to shoot it. If he's open, I want him to shoot it. Right? And, like, again, like, they don't got nobody to guard him. Like, they don't offensively. They don't have anyone to guard Karl-Anthony Towns. They don't. And I think if we create a game plan in which you're getting him involved early at the hub, making decisions, and Jalen Brunson is doing his thing during the game, OG Anunoby in the corner, Mikal Bridges roaming around like he has been, hitting his mid-range shots. He's actually been more physical lately, getting to the basket. I'm confident, guys. I'm confident on this matchup. But Cat is the key. It could be a short series if Cat is dominating. Could be, right? But once we start to revert into that ISO stuff, right, which we saw in this game, by the way. Like, we saw, like, Brunson, the ISO, he had 13. He had an amazing game. Big fourth quarter, but there were some plays in which there was some too much ISO in this game, and that's when the Hawks were, like, feeding off of the misses and going on their run and running and gunning and the whole nine. But I think if the Knicks are moving and grooving, we're good. We're good. Zaire says Brunson's going to foul bait the hell out of Dice. He fouled out in this game, right? Yeah. Fouled out in this game. Look, he is one of the league's best defenders. But in terms of matchups against Jalen Brunson, I mean, there's just certain matchups in what Brunson feels confident on, and Daniels is one of them. Look, has Daniels gotten him a couple of times? Yes. But when it's all said and done, I'm confident. Let's go. Sean says, we Gucci. Tired of seeing how Knicks Twitter has been sounding. We are the better team. We are championship contender. Let's tighten up. I want to get the gauge from the fan base. Like, what is Knicks Twitter saying? Like, Knicks Twitter is like a cesspool, guys. It's really a whole bunch of negativity that I try not to get involved in. But, like, this is the Knicks negative. Like, if you're on like one of the Knicks negative fans, right? And there are some out there. This is possibly your best case scenario. Like, you can be talking yourself into the Hawks possibly beating the New York Knicks. But I don't want to think like that right now. Like, I want to be positive because the New York Knicks have shown over this last week with the big win in Atlanta. It just happened that they can prove that they can roll with the best. And that was a big win. Now, look, playoffs are a different animal. Will the Hawks shoot lights out in the playoffs when the Garden's shaking and MSG is like going crazy? Will the Hawks play their fast-paced style in MSG, run and gun? I don't know. Does MSG get the best of them? We'll see this weekend. But this is a different opponent than the Raptors. It is. It's a way different opponent than the Raptors. Raptors, if we were facing the Raptors, I would be, no lie, 4 games, 5 games max if we were facing the Raptors. But we're not facing the Raptors. The NBA, things change on a blink. We're facing the Hawks. A lot of Knicks fans are worried. If you are worried, let me know in the chat right now. If you are worried, please tell me in the chat why you're worried and explain it, and I'll try to answer or calm your nerves regarding your nerves heading into the first round against the Atlanta Hawks. If you're worried. But if I'm gauging the chat, most of you in the chat are seemingly confident, which I love. Woody says Knicks in 4. Knicks in 5, excuse me. Dictatorship says none of Atlanta's centers are stopping Mitchell Robinson. Again, Sean says we're Gucci, right? But there are people that are worried. And I want to know, why are you worried? Do you think that the old Knicks team or the Knicks team that was about to lose to this Hawks team will show up? Or do you feel like over this last week the Knicks changed your mind? Joseph says I'm 50-50. Sean says respect your opponent, but I'm not worried. Joseph says I'm not that nervous. I'm like 20% nervous. All right, so I posted on the Knicks Nation account on X, Knicks vs. Hawks first round. Make your prediction. Let's see the responses. This is my first time seeing the responses. Knicks in 4. Yes, I effing said it. Atlanta wanted us. They will have us. Knicks in 4. Knicks in 6 from Turtle. With the Knicks, anything can happen. Knicks in 7. I'm just going down the list. Knicks sweep. Knicks in 5. Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6. A lot of people are picking Knicks in 6. I don't see any Hawks. Hawks in 7. It's probably a Hawks fan. Scott probably doesn't follow me. Yeah, probably a Hawks fan. I have a really bad feeling about this series, but I'll say Knicks in 6. See, I understand that. Like, I understand where some Knicks fans are nervous heading into this series. Like, I get it. I'm not gonna disparage you. I'm not gonna sit up here and say, yeah, you guys are crazy. I'm not. Because let's not remember, it was just like 3 weeks ago where the Knicks were beating up on the bad teams, but when it came down to, beat up on, try to get a big win in Houston, they folded. So what Knicks team shows up? Right? What Knicks team shows up? Obviously, we're going to say game 1 is important. You want to get game 1, the nerves out the way. You don't want to give this Hawks team confidence, right? But Knicks have the star power. Like, they have the individual players, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, that can take over a series on any given moment. Like, do the Hawks have a player that can take over a series in a blink? Are you going to talk me into Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Can he take over a series? I don't know. Like, I don't think so. Let me put this Knicks Hawks poster. Shout out to Connor for the poster. I don't know. Zaire says ATO has no game changer. Woody says, NBA not going to let you only play 4 games. Sean says, I'm expecting cardiac Knicks hoops as always. Wouldn't expect it any other way, but let's finish this in 5. Yeah, look. CJ says, respect them and sweep the Hawks. Don't let them get no wins in MSG. Atlanta's still new. Yeah, look. I would not be shocked if we lose the first 2 games in Madison Square Garden. I would not be shocked. That doesn't mean we're losing the series, right? I would not be shocked because based solely on how Atlanta has been playing lately. Now I just put up their schedule. A lot of those wins were against teams below 500. They had an easy schedule, but they showed us in the game last week that they're legit. They're good. They're good. They're not. I don't think they're frauds. Like, does anyone think they're frauds? I don't think they're frauds. I don't think the Hawks are frauds. They're good. They have shooters. Nikhil Alexander Walker's had a tremendous year. CJ McCollum's their veteran presence on their team. Jalen Johnson is a superstar in the making, according to some people. But I don't think they're frauds. I would not be shocked if this goes 6 games or 7 games. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't. So we'll have all week to dissect this even more. But let's go. Source, come on, Source. I'm just giving it to you guys from both sides. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I could be on here waving pom-poms, like for the most part I have been doing for the New York Knicks. But I'm giving it to you from both sides. And I think most of you in the chat respect that. And I appreciate that. But I'm just like I like respecting my opponent. Like it was just 2 weeks ago where we were kind of like shaky about this Knicks team. And yes, their confidence has increased for me with this team. The Knicks' confidence, like my confidence has increased, especially that I went in Atlanta versus these guys. I have felt better about this team, but they haven't put that together for majority stretches. And yes, you're looking at their record, better record than last year, top 5 in offense. What did they finish? Top 10 in defense this year, better than last year, number 1 rating in the 4th quarter, right? But if that game last week was a taste of a Knicks-Hawks playoff series, it's going to be a fun one. And what you saw last week is the formula to beat them. You play inside out. You play through Karl-Anthony Towns with Jalen Brunson as the closer for this New York Knicks team, while the guys, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges feeding off of one another, and Josh Hart. Josh Hart didn't really have a good game in that game as well. Didn't. But he had 2 big offensive rebounds. So I'm just looking at the raw, like Mitchell Robinson, like he's gonna dominate these guys. Like Mitch is gonna come in and dominate. Like Jordan Clarkson. Like I would expect more of the same from Clarkson. Come in, give a spark, and away we go. I actually think like Mo D would fare good against these guys. Muhammad Diawara, but he just isn't in the rotation right now currently. So away we go. But I just think we have a lot of depth on this team in which we didn't have last year, which again, it's first to 4. It's not first to 1, it's not first to 2, it's not first to 3. It is first to 4. Right? And I just don't see a world in this Atlanta team beating this Knicks team 4 times. Could they possibly beat them twice? Yes. Right? Yeah. Could they possibly beat them 3 times? I'm not predicting it, but it's possible. It's first to 4. I just think when it's all said and done, this Knicks team is too talented, too deep, and they have the closers that Atlanta doesn't. But we just have to play the right way. Like, we just have to play, in my opinion, through Cat, and then everyone else feeds off of that. Once again, shout out to the chat. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Anthony. We'll be doing a lot of content throughout the week talking Knicks Hawks. It is official. The New York Knicks will play the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. Let's go. Let's go. Mike says Hawks don't have a bench and our wing play better offense than they do defense. And Nikhil Alexander-Walker got to do it for 4 games. I get it with ATL, but they're not ready in the playoffs. Is a different animal. Let's go. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. It's different. It's a different animal. Again, I'll put up. So it seems like everyone's. I wouldn't say there are people that are nervous. I would say there are people that are, cautiously optimistic because the Hawks are the team in the East that have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. Right? So, again, their schedule, though, fairly easy. Fairly easy. Right? From the All-Star break. Look at their schedule. I mean, look at these games. From Philly all the way down. Like, who is the team above 500 in this stretch? I don't see one. They had Washington twice. Like, maybe Philly at the time, but they were like, Orlando sucks. Like, Orlando, man. Orlando, bro. Bruh. I don't forget the mainstream media that some of them picked the Orlando Magic to finish above the New York Knicks, by the way. I don't. This was their big win against the Pistons. Were the Pistons healthier in this game, though? No. They weren't. And this game went into overtime. So this one had no Cade in this game. This was their win against Detroit. But again, you play who's on your schedule. You don't make excuses, and you move on. We had an easy stretch there, but we weren't complaining. But Hawks can score, folks. They can score. So defensively, Knicks have to come with a game plan, and away we go. But they can for sure score, and they have the scoring power to get back into a game and to extend leads and to, have sustainable runs. Like, they have the scoring power to do so, and they are not afraid. But again, it is to be determined on how that translates into playoff basketball, because playoff basketball is different from regular season basketball. And what we have seen from the New York Knicks is that when the lights are brighter, last year versus the Pistons versus Celtics, they have playoff performers, right? That's not saying the Hawks don't have playoff performers at all. I'm just saying from firsthand experience, what we've seen from this Knicks team, they have continuity and experience. Now, the head coach is different. It's different. It's a different head coach than Tom Thibodeau. He's going to be under the spotlight, guys. Mike Brown is going to be under the spotlight this postseason. He is. This is where he's judged. This is where Mike Brown is judged, and this is where ultimately it was always where he was going to be judged, because congrats to him passing Pat Riley for a first-time Knicks coach having the most wins. Mike Brown, congratulations. I don't know if I said that last postgame. It's an accomplishment. He inherited a team that was already pre-built to take this Knicks team to the promised land. Further than what they did last year. Let's not forget that. So, Lamar, what's going on, Lamar? Appreciate you, Lamar. Appreciate you for re-upping the membership, Lamar. Thank you for the support. Slow Runner says first game at MSG is very important. Yes, it is. So, going back to Mike Brown, he was the guy that was pegged by the front office that will hopefully take this New York Knicks team further than where they went last year, right? This is it. We're done, guys. Regular season's over. It's crazy. The regular season's over. Congrats to the New York Knicks for beating out their win total last year, but it was fun. Like, the Knicks are good, guys. I wanna keep on saying that. From what we've been, it has been a struggle to get to this point, but we have built a sustained winner over these last few years, and we have had playoff success. Like last year, hurt a lot. Still haunts me. Still haunts me, but we're here again. We're back. And we're facing a Hawks team that has been playing really well. Yes, they've been playing really well. But this Knicks team is talented enough, in my opinion, to beat this Hawks team to get past the first round. Should be. But again, if you were to peg anyone in the Eastern Conference that you would like to avoid it, right? Atlanta would have been number one, to be honest with you. But I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. Raptors would have been nice. That's not the case. That's not what the basketball gods wanted. And away we go. So it's Knicks Hawks first round. You got home court. This is what you win all those games for in the regular season. And you have the sixth man in MSG faithful to hopefully get you past them. And I think they will. Slow Runner says Knicks are healthier than last year and our bench is better. Dictatorship, agree, Slow Runner. Agree. Healthier than last year. Again, OG Anunoby, the injury, the latest injury update for OG Anunoby is that he's day-to-day. So Mike Brown is seemingly not concerned about the ankle injury for OG Anunoby. So knock on wood, the Knicks are the healthiest they have been. In their deepest they have been. Again, we have many different options. Like if Jordan Clarkson is struggling the first couple of games, Mike Brown can go to a Jose Alvarado. He can go to a Mohamed Diarra, who many Knicks fans have thought that should be in the rotation anyway. But there's just so many guys that have been playing well. That's not a slight at Mo D. Mike Brown is just, he's sticking with his four guys off the bench, right? You want to build chemistry too. You don't want to like deviate from your plan too much. So he has pegged the four guys off the bench: Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamet, and Deuce McBride, who has been played a great game today. So those are your guys. And until otherwise, like until your backs up or get against it, which I don't expect that happening against this Hawks team. But again, the Hawks are not the Raptors. Like the same thing I said about the Hawks. If you look at the Raptors, like I was previewing the Raptors series. Raptors beat up on bad teams against teams above 500. They stink. Hawks beat up on bad teams. They're shooting better. They're playing better within the system. They have more firepower than Toronto. They have more shooters. They're deeper, quote unquote. Finished with the same record, both of them, right? 46 and 36. But it's two different teams. Raptors have stayed. Remember, the Raptors started the whatever. We're not facing the Raptors. So it's Atlanta and New York. So let's go. Let's go. Updated poll. How many votes we got so far? 154 votes. Knicks versus the Atlanta Hawks predictions. Knicks in 5 is at 46%. Knicks in 6 is at 38%. Knicks in 7 is at 6%. Hawks win series is at 10%. Bruh. Do I got Hawks fans in the chat? Who is voting for Hawks win series? And if you're a Knicks fan, please explain in the chat if you voted that the Hawks will win the series. I would like to know why. What's making you think that? I'm not, disparaging your vote because it's an option, but please explain to me. I would like to know. Like, if I'm missing something in terms of this matchup. Right? But it should be a hell of a series, and I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this Knicks team again in the playoffs, right? Again. Let's go. El Jefe on X. Let's go, Knicks. Joseph says Hawks fans. Hawks fans in the chat. That's all right. That's all right. Like, I'm sure Atlanta's on fire right now. They had one of the hottest teams in the NBA. As they should be. They should be feeling really good about, the playoffs. If I was on the other side, I would try to talk myself into ways that I can beat this Knicks team. But I just think that when it's all said and done, do they have a closer? And we do, and Jalen Brunson. Do they have a big that can stop Cat? Do they have someone who can stop Mitchell Robinson? No, they don't. They don't. Now, they have one of the league's best one-on-one defenders in Dyson Daniels, right? But as a Knicks fan, we've seen success with Jalen Brunson and Dyson Daniels. We've seen success. So that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not kind of looking like over that matchup, the Dyson Daniels, Jalen Brunson matchup, but I've seen Jalen Brunson with my own two eyes have success over Dyson Daniels. So that's why I'm not really like I'm good. I know Jalen Brunson can operate, and I know this is when he shines the most. So let's go. Lamar says playoff basketball is a different animal. Go ahead and sleep. Let's go. 86 Smurf says the only person who would vote that is Stephen A. Smith. Bruh. Raptors went 3-0 versus the Cavs this season. Oof. Guys, look, Raptors get the Cavs. Could be a world where Cleveland gets knocked out in the first round. That wouldn't be a shocker, but man, if that happens, blow it up, Cleveland. It's over. It's a wrap. So, Knicks, Hawks, Cleveland, Toronto, Detroit, and Boston are awaiting the play-in winners. And away we go, guys. This is it. The playoff matchups are set. Your New York Knicks finished with 53 wins. They are 30-10 at home. They have been a dominant team the entirety of the NBA season. They have, been really good at home. 30-10. That is, and we played 83 games this year too, by the way, because of the NBA Cup. So Pistons are 31-9, but they're a better road team, right? That's where, like, if the Knicks go up 2-0, all you have to do is take one in Atlanta. That's all you have to do, right? That's the cliche, right? Go up 2-0, get the 2 games in Madison Square Garden, go to Atlanta, you're feeling good about yourself. You want to take game 3, but all you have to do is take one game in Atlanta. That's why you play for home court, right? But, we'll see how they look in game 1 and game 2. Again, Hawks have played really well for their coach, Quinn Snyder, and we just have to see how they play in the playoffs because, again, the playoffs are different than the regular season. So, let's go. I'm excited. We're here. Yes, Jerry, I'm doing a Discord. I'm doing a Discord. Bear with me, Yuri. Bear with me. I'll get to you. Please be patient. I'm just, talking through the playoff preview right now. And hour 43 already. Hour 43 on here. Let's go. Just getting started, feels like, man. It's the time of year, ladies and gentlemen. It's the time of the year where many Knicks fans look for. It's the time of year where many Knicks fans start turning on the TV. Let's be honest. I'm sure, a lot of Knicks fans are like, wake me up in the playoffs. We'll see what they do in the playoffs. Like, regular season, that's cute. Mike Breen caught a lot of heat on his comments. There are some truth to those comments, though. The Knicks are, they're a really good team. And from what we've been up until this point, we should be thankful for Leon Rose in the front office. But you want to strive for more. Like, your owner, James Dolan, spoke for the first time in many years, and he wants this Knicks team to advance to the NBA Finals. And he thinks that this Knicks team should advance to the NBA Finals. So that is not us Knicks fans putting that pressure on this team. That is their owner and James Dolan putting the pressure on the New York Knicks to do so. And if you're looking at a path right now, your path, bearing any change, would be beating the Atlanta Hawks, one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. Boston just proved to you that Joe Mazzulla is still one of the top coaches in the NBA, winning against freaking Orlando with their third stringers. So we are all looking forward to that second round matchup, but we have to get there. We have to get there first. We cannot skip steps, especially against this Hawks team. And away we go. Sean says, any thoughts on the play-in? Yeah, so Hornets get the Heat. Hornets are home. I would say the Hornets win, so it'll be Hornets Pistons in the first round. Look, the Miami Heat, you chalk them up to a play-in team every single year, right? I mean, it's just they're a play-in team. But the Heat are one of these teams that if they get it going, they're like I can totally see this Heat team beating the Hornets, but I would assume that the Hornets would advance, and I would assume the Hornets would play the Pistons in the first round. On the other side of the bracket,
bruh.
Like the 76ers and the Magic, like I have no confidence in the Magic. Magic suck. Guys, they couldn't beat the G League. I shouldn't even call the Celtics the G League squad because they're really good, man. That Luka kid, he didn't even play versus us. Right? That's why I think Boston didn't show their hand versus us when we beat them. Luka didn't even play versus us. I would say the 76ers come out and win that one. They're home. Paul George, Maxey, Edgecombe. I have no faith in the Magic. So I would assume it's 76ers Celtics. You know? And it depends on the Embiid health. I don't even give him a chance versus Boston, but we'll see. Oh, the loser of 7-8 has to play the winner of 9-10. Okay. I kind of read this wrong. I kind of read this as a bracket. I forgot about that. So the loser of 7-8 has to play the winner of 9-10. So Hornets would probably play the Magic, and that's where I see the Hornets advancing. I have no faith in the Magic. None. All right, let's get to Yuri in the Discord. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, Yuri. You guys can call into the show if you guys want to. The Discord is open. The link is pinned up in the chat. Yuri, welcome into the Knicks Nation postgame show. My bad for keeping you waiting. What you got tonight? Is Yuri, are you there? Are you in the building? Going once. Going twice, Yuri. Oh, man, Yuri. Yuri. All right, we'll get to comment in the chat, Yuri, when you're available. But I know I kept you waiting for damn near an hour and a half. But look, we are excited that the playoffs are here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what it's all about, right? This is where it's all about. Knicks Hawks, guys. Knicks Hawks. Source says praying for the Magic downfall. Source says it don't matter. Orlando losing anyways. Joseph says Hornets are going to sweep the Magic. Appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. 85 people in the chat. Let's go. 85 people in the chat. Yuri is back. Hold on. Yuri.
Okay, now
there you go. Yeah, I got you. What you got tonight? You're welcome into the Knicks Nation post-game show. Well, not post-game. Well, playoff preview. What you got?
First of all, congratulations to the Knicks for completing an 83-game season.
Yep.
Ending up third in the East in an injury-riddled Eastern Conference. That really, people had the narrative over the summer that the East was free for the Knicks. And I didn't really take that into consideration because nothing's free in NBA. You never know what kind of team is going to hit you no matter how hard you get hit, right?
Yep.
So for the Knicks to end up third, again, for the second time in a year, I'll take it. I'll take being a top 3 team in the East.
Look, so will I. You get the Hawks, Yuri, in the first round. It was the Raptors leading up to tonight. But what are your expectations with the Knicks and Hawks in the first round, and what's your prediction?
To the people that are worried about the Hawks, your team are contenders. And the way I view it is this: the Hawks shouldn't scare you. If you're the Knicks fan and you're a Knicks fan, I'll say this right now. The Knicks are third in the East. The Hawks are sixth in the East. Yes, they've played great for the rest of the season. Yes, I'm respecting them. But I'll say this. If you got the team with the most experience, and you got the team with the most star power, and you got the team that has Cat who can average a double-double in his sleep, and you got Mikal who can easily give you 12 to 15 points a game, and can give you a solid defense, and you got OG Anunoby, which we just found out is day-to-day, and I'm expecting him to be fully healthy for the playoffs when that time comes. And you got Jalen Brunson, who has cooked Dyson Daniels so many times to where I've lost count, and Dyson Daniels has gotten the better of him. The Hawks haven't been in playoffs. They don't have the experience. Knicks do. You shouldn't be worried, but at the same time, I can see the Hawks giving the Knicks trouble. I'm going to go Knicks in 6.
There we go. Knicks in 6. Give me your X factor on the Knicks side. And
the bench.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to be the X factor in this case. Hawks got no bench besides Gabe Fisher and Corey Kispert. I'm going to go Mitch is going to be the X factor off that bench.
Yeah, they got no one to guard. They got no one to guard Mitch. I think that's going to be a major advantage for the Knicks side, the Mitchell Robinson aspect.
Deuce got his shot back, it looks like, as well.
Yeah.
And that's huge for the Knicks because you don't know when the offense is going to stagnate. You're going to need a Deuce McBride bucket. You know?
Yeah.
Extend your run towards to stop a run, to be matter of fact. And you're going to need Deuce's defense as well. Now, Mike Brown has stated that he's not going to change the starting lineup, man, but you don't know with Mike Brown. You know what I mean? You don't know what he's got up his sleeve.
You don't, Yuri. Yuri, appreciate the call. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Look, shout out to Yuri in the chat, always calling into the show. Knicks Nation avid caller to the show. Shout out to Yuri. Oh, here come the Hawks fans. Here comes the Hawk fan. I love it. Bring it on. Bring it on, ATL. Look, again, I'm not going to argue with the Hawks fans. If you think your team can beat this Knicks team, cool. Like I'm not gonna sit there and argue with you. But I have to see it first. I know the game last week in which you almost beat us, almost don't count though. So, but look, you guys have been the hottest team in the NBA. You guys have a nice little record after the All-Star break. And you guys have a nice little squad, and you play for your coach and Quinn Snyder. But I just don't think you have the you don't have the stoppers. Like you can't stop Jalen Brunson in the clutch. You have no one to guard Karl Anthony Towns. You have no one to box out Mitchell Robinson. If OG Anunoby got it going from 3, and again we have to see his ankle. You got no one to guard him. So again, it's not going to be a layup. I'm not calling for that, but you guys should be happy about your team, and you should feel confident. Like I'm not going to take that away from you guys. I'm not, but you know. Thanks for watching, man. But this should be a fun series all night, all week long, leading up to Game 1. Whether that's on Saturday or Sunday, I wonder if that came out yet. If Game 1 is on Sunday or Saturday, I would assume you would want Game 1 on Saturday night in Madison Square Garden. So, ooh, this is interesting. From Josh Lewenberg, definitely heard some cheers coming from the Raptors room when Garza hit the game winner for Boston. But Barrett insists they didn't have a preference between Cleveland or New York. He played the Cavs in the 4-5 matchup when he was with the Knicks in 2023. Raptors wanted Cleveland because they're undefeated against Cleveland. So if you're a Raptors fan, you're thrilled. You are thrilled that the Magic lost to Boston. Because, let's face it, Raptors, Knicks would have been barbecue chicken. But we didn't get that. thought that was interesting to get to you guys. RJ, they wanted Cleveland, and they got Cleveland. Away we go. So okay, there are comments. So we did get some comments from the Knicks after the game regarding the Hawks, which I didn't think we got, but we did get them.
Really good team. Really good team, really well coached, a lot of good players. Excited for the matchup.
What kind of challenges do they presented to you guys in the regular season?
Like I said, a lot of talent. Really well coached. They play fast, and they got a lot of good basketball players.
What do you think of Atlanta?
Shout out to Mikal, man. They're a good team. They got a lot of good players.
Mike, your matchups with Atlanta this year, what did you see in those series?
They were good. Atlanta's a good team. They're a good team. Everybody's good.
What kind of challenges do they pose?
Everybody's gonna pose challenges. I don't know who we're gonna play, but we're gonna face different challenges by everybody because everybody's really good, especially at this time of the year.
I love the political answers. I love it. Don't give them any bulletin board material. And the Knicks aren't like that anyway. Deuce McBride on Facing the Hawks.
How are you feeling overall?
I'm
how are you
solid.
feeling?
Like I said, it was a surgery in the middle of the season, being out for so long. So just getting my wind back, dealing with the residual pain of the surgery is not fun, but it's part of the journey. Just trying to do anything I can do to help the team win.
Let's go, man. Shout out to Deuce McBride working his way back.
I'm solid.
Working his way back from that injury. Working his way back, and he is back. Deuce McBride on the Atlanta Hawks.
I mean, they're a team that really defends really well. They got guys that can go get a bucket on the offensive end, but I think their team defense is really something challenging. So it's going to be an exciting playoff series.
What kind of challenge?
Yep. Exactly. Hawks are good, man. I know Atlanta Hawks are the fans are in the chat. I'm not gonna entertain it. But Hawks are good, folks, and the Knicks know that. Everyone knows that. And if you're a Knicks fan, you should still feel confident that the New York Knicks should be able to advance against the Atlanta Hawks because you have the star power and you have the 7-foot big man that when he's on and can't be guarded. And we saw it just last week or a week and a half ago against this Hawks team in which no one can guard Karl-Anthony Towns when he's on. Like nobody, right? And if the Knicks feed off of that, if they start off these games with feeding their big man, getting his confidence up, and having their closer close out these games, then as a Knicks fan, you should feel good. Say Quizzy is in the building, says if the Knicks lock in, it's Knicks in 5. If not, Knicks in 6. I love it. See, it's that simple. If the Knicks lock in, it could be Knicks in 5. If not, if they play with their food, I can see this Hawks team winning 2 games. I could. Totally. After what we saw last week versus Atlanta, right? In Atlanta, Hawks went up double digits in that game. Knicks, they came back, clawed their way back. But Hawks weren't feared. Hawks weren't feared. They were playing their game. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was hitting everything, guys. I mean, he was hitting fadeaway threes off of inbound passes right in front of the Knicks bench. I mean, I know he's been shooting lights out this year. But if you're Atlanta, you're going to have to rely on those, that magnet ball from him. And I just don't think, you can. But he has been putting up, beastly numbers lately. He has been a really good three-point shooter. But I just don't think they played him poorly, defended him poorly. I just think that he was hot in that basketball game. And he is good. He could have a couple of those hot games and win the Hawks 2 games. Again, it's 1st to 4. It's not 1st to 2. So, yes, the Hawks can win 2 games and make this a 6-game series. But as long as we advance, right? As long as we advance, and that's all that matters, right? Like, we'll react to it in the moment, but let's get to the round 2. George says Knicks play this Saturday coming up. Is that official, George? Did the schedule come out? I'm not sure if the schedule came out yet. I don't think it did, George. I don't think it did. But let's go. If the schedule came out, let me know in the chat. Lamar says hottest team during the regular season. This is the playoffs. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Scoop. Scoop is a Hawks fan in the chat. He says, I want to invite Trae Young back in the Garden to roll the dice on the logo. Scoop, if the Knicks beat the Hawks, I want you back in the chat and apologizing and saying GG's. Would you do that? Would you do that? Greg Bro in the chat, bring in the statistics. There we go. Brunson in 7 games versus Dyson Daniels in the last 2 games. 27.5 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 7 assists, 49% field goal percentage, 35% from 3. Pretty elite, if you ask me. 27, 35% 3-point. Pretty elite. Again, Dyson Daniels is one of the league's best perimeter defenders. He is. It's not a slight at Daniels, but there are certain matchups in which Jalen Brunson thrives in. And I shouldn't say thrives, but he's comfortable in. And maybe it's the way Daniels plays him, but maybe he knows Dyson Daniels' tendencies. He's in the, like playoff Brunson is a different Brunson. Like, just putting that out there, Hawks fans. Playoff Brunson is a different Brunson. And Jalen Brunson has shown over the years that he has been comfortable with that matchup. So if everything is working, if you're feeding Cat and, you know, OG's hitting the threes and Mikel's doing his thing and your bench is playing, I mean, it should be a Knicks series win. Joel says 6 p.m. Saturday. That's game 1, 6 p.m. Saturday. Is that official, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. It is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Who was first? I think Joel. Somebody brought it up. Your New York Knicks play on Saturday, April 18th at 6 p.m. on NBA Prime. I'm getting excited. Let's go. I kind of knew that they were going to have the first and second seed, the Boston Celtics and Detroit Pistons, play on that Sunday to wait for the play-in teams, to give the play-in teams the extra day. But it is official. So Cleveland and Toronto get that 1 o'clock spot. Knicks get that 6 p.m. spot against the Hawks on Saturday. And it's on Prime. It's not on MSG this year. MSG, remember, last year was their last year in covering the first round of the Knicks playoffs. So now it's on Prime. I see a lot of people saying Amazon Prime, throw up. 86 Smurf says 6 p.m. Eastern. Yes, 6 p.m. Eastern. Knicks Hawks game 1 on Prime. Let's go. I'm excited, man. You kick it off on Saturday. You have pretty much a week off to prep, to practice. The guys haven't traveled in about 3 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks until they head back to head back to Atlanta. But it's going to be on 6 p.m. on Prime. Let's go. NBC gets the West. Do they get the West in the first round? I don't know. Whether they cycle back and forth between the East and the West. No, they don't. Excuse me. The Pistons. What am I talking about? Pistons get they get the first seed. Pistons. And then you have Rockets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Raptors, Cavs, Celtics 7th, OKC versus the 8th seed, Pistons, and then Spurs versus the West 7th seed. And away we go. Damn, 86 Mer. Yeah, this is on April 18th. My birthday is on Monday, so I'm wondering if Game 2 is going to be on Monday, April 20th. That should be fun. Knicks win on my birthday, hopefully. And away we go. But look, it should be a hell of a series between both teams. Look, guys, like, the more I think about it, the more I have more confidence in this team. Let's go to the updated poll. Let me just refresh this a little bit. If you haven't voted, a lot of votes came in tonight, by the way. A lot of votes. So 177 votes on the poll. Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7, or the Hawks win the series. So far, Knicks in 5 is winning at 47%. Knicks in 6 is at 36%. Knicks in 7 at 6%. Hawks win series is at There's a vote that just came in for the Hawks win series. Hawks fans are in the chat. I love it. Shout out to the Hawks fans. Like, it should be fun. Like, it should be ethical hoops, hopefully, right? It should be no BS, hopefully no drama. It should be fun basketball. And I feel good. I feel good right now as a Knicks fan. So far, Knicks in 5 is at 47%. I would lean towards Knicks in 6, but I can see how this being a 5-game series. I could. For sure. Let's go. So, shout out to the chat. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the members. If you guys want to join and become a member, putting out more members-only content for the members during the postseason run. The Knicks Nation hats are on the website, knicksnation.shop. Okay, say Quizzy's in the Discord. Let's go. Get to your call really quick, say Quizzy. Say Quizzy, you are up next on the Knicks Nation live stream. How are you? Let's go. Let's go.
It's playoff time.
It's time.
All the regular season talk is over with now. It's a new season now.
Yep.
It's playoff time. I ain't gonna lie, watching that Magic game was so embarrassing. Like, bro, I'm like, because I was so confused how it would have worked, how we would have played Toronto if the Magic would have won. So I'm like, what is going on? But
because of the three-way tie, if the Magic would have won, it would have been Magic, Hawks, and Raptors. I think would have had the same record. And there's a three-way tie in there in which the Hawks would have won that, and the Raptors would have been the 6th seed. So.
Oh, okay. Because I was so confused. But watching that game, it was so embarrassing. But we got the Hawks. It is what it is. We wanted Toronto, but we don't get what we want. Now we got to fight for it. So hopefully the team wakes up. Like, because I ain't going to lie. Mitch and Cat should be eating in that paint.
Yeah.
Like, what the game I seen from Mitch, he's ready. Like, I wish Trae Young was still on the team.
Right? Me too.
It would have made it way better if Trae Young was still on this team. The Knicks fans still might say F Trae Young, and he's not even here. But I'm hyped. Saturday, I'm locked in. Put my jersey on, putting every gear on that I got.
Saturday, 6 p.m., Knicks, Hawks. Man, I'm locked in too. Look, this is what we've been waiting for, right, say Quizzy? It was all about what happens in the playoffs with this team.
Yeah.
And
like, whatever Bridges did in the regular season, whatever. Whatever OG did in the regular season, whatever. You step up in